Hello everyone, Alon Mizrahi here, and this is the Mizrahi Perspective, giving you a dose of Jewish Arab anarchist sanity in this madhouse. Because it is a madhouse, we are not going crazy. Reality is crazy. What's happening is so unreasonable and makes so little sense. Literally, if you don't ask yourself, am I going crazy at least once a week? I envy you, because this is so extreme. And this is so extreme, and I'm going to explain in this video and describe exactly what I mean by this. When I say this is so extreme, I'm going to describe exactly what I mean by this. But this is very extreme. This is so unreasonable. I'm I'm talking about today's reality, and I'm reminded of what happened during COVID, and conversation I have with someone very close to me. We often say that like normal reality ended when COVID began. Since COVID began, we haven't had like a month of normalcy. There was COVID, then there was the Ukraine war with all the insanity that the propaganda, the brainwashing, the fact that you weren't allowed to ask questions about it. And then the Gaza Holocaust began, and then all the craziness in the West began, and it's like 5 years now that we haven't had anything that resembles normalcy. And if anyone is going to tell me that this doesn't have like a deep impact on our well-being, on how we are, I don't believe it. This is very extreme, very unusual. But let's talk about now. Um, after a couple of weeks where it seemed that nothing was happening after the ceasefire, this terrible ceasefire agreement resulted or was followed by a couple of weeks where it seemed like nothing was happening. Now, something is always happening. If we have a feeling that nothing is happening, it's because someone is trying to produce this impression in us. But recently, in the last couple of weeks, things seem to happen and seem to accelerate. Since the Epstein affair, since the Epstein materials have again become a widely discussed topic, things seem to happen like fast and aggressively. And there's so much of it. I won't be able to even go over all of it. I mean, but the Venezuela war seems now almost inevitable and very imminent. The way the US is talking about this, the Ministry of War, this childish name that they think this is a game of never mind. Marjorie Taylor Greene has resigned basically from Congress. This is a major event. We saw Mamdani at the White House. Israel is attacking Lebanon more seriously, more severely. The genocide in Gaza seems to be picking up again, and this all. Listen, I had a feeling of bereavement when they signed this stupid agreement. I was devastated. I was devastated because of this agreement. But now it seems to be falling apart, and no country what wants to take place stupidly, only now they realize that what the US and Israel did was just prepare a trap for them, for Indonesia, for the Indonesian army or the Turkish army or any other army, or for Egyptian army, or doesn't matter what military, from what Muslim country. They wanted the militaries of the Muslim countries to go into Gaza, to fight with Hamas, to get killed, to create a big mess out of this, and probably apply some false flags made in Israel using the IDF or the gangs that Israel is helping in Gaza, creating a big chaos and bloodshed, and telling the international community, this chorus of Zionist whores and slaves, oh, you see, the Gazans cannot be ruled. They not accept any agreement. Even we tried our best to bring the Indonesian army, the Turkish army, no one can control them. We have to ethnically cleanse all of them. This was the Israeli and very probably American plan as well. But very late, the idiots that lead the Muslim countries realized that this was what Israel and the US were preparing for them, and they don't want to take any part of this. Had they been wiser 6 weeks ago, this amazingly destructive and evil agreement would never have been born, would never have materialized. But they were just, I don't know if it's negligent or evil or stupid. I don't know. Maybe it's all of the above. They helped Israel and the US stage this fake agreement. And now Israel is going back to butchering again. Now, if we're going to put Gaza aside for 1 second, Gaza is never off my mind, and I know it's never off your mind as well, or off your heart. Let's take a look for a second. I mean, let's pause and appreciate. And this is when I said before that I was going to describe what I mean by this is insane. Let's pause and appreciate the depth and magnitude and intensity of the Zionist campaign to prevent a recognition, an international recognition, a global recognition across countries and cultures of what Zionism really is and what really happened in Gaza. And what kind of tricks and means Israel is using to achieve this unimaginable power in American politics, in British politics, in European politics, in Arab politics. They have so much power in all those places. And the cumulative effect of this is really messing with our very perception of reality. This is so extreme. Everything is about them. Everything is about Israel. Everything that is happening. Israel is now the only subject. It is the only political subject that anyone in the West or anywhere that borders with the West or has a deep relationship with the West, this is the subject. There is no other subject. When Marjorie Taylor Greene resigns, it is because of Israel. when Trump is calling Thomas Massey stupid and all kinds of terrible names, he's a congressman, a democratically elected American official. And Trump is calling him terrible names. It is because of Israel. When all of social media, listen, my reach has been destroyed. I don't know if you're watching this on YouTube or on my Substack or on Twitter or anywhere else. My reach has been destroyed on YouTube. And what they have done to Twitter is unbelievable. Over the last 2 years, when I started writing in English 2 years ago, Twitter was a totally different place. You would scroll and you would see hundreds of accounts of interesting people, enlightened people, political people, people who write well, people who have something to say, people who are curious, people who are political. You don't see them anymore. All I see when I scroll Twitter is just stupid videos and clickbaits and all these engagement traps, all these stupid questions that suddenly gain millions and millions of views. What is the one movie that you can't live without? What is the one food that you would, I don't know, throw out the window? What is the one country that you will never visit? All kinds of stupid, sensationalist, stupid, meaningless stuff that's meant to just pull you in and disconnect you from life, from what's happening. And this has been gradually getting worse and worse. But in the last couple of weeks, since Netanyahu said, there's this famous clip by now, we need to take over TikTok. This is the big problem because all the young people, like this Obama's former speechwriter, this Zionist Jew, said, young people, and they always talk about TikTok, young people go on TikTok and they see all the dead Palestinian children. And this radicalizes them against Israel. And they don't understand that the lesson from the Holocaust is that the Jews are always victims. Even when the Jewish state is carrying out a live-streamed Holocaust. So they hate TikTok. They are destroying TikTok. They are trying to take over TikTok. But they also destroy Twitter. It is not the same platform. And this dramatic change has happened over the last couple of weeks. So social media, for billions of people, billions of users, is being destroyed to serve Zionism. Not to save Jews from persecution. To serve Zionism as a political project when it is involved, it is neck deep in atrocities that the whole world is disgusted with and can't stomach and can't take. So they are destroying social media, which is such a major part of life for years now. This is being destroyed, and this has been destroyed to serve this political agenda, to prevent accountability, to disrupt the normal human discussion that we need to have. Because this concerns all of us. All of us. This concerns all of us. People from China, people from the Netherlands, people from anywhere, from Australia. But they won't allow it. So they are destroying the infrastructure of the human conversation. And they are taking additional measures to take over legacy media also. And everything is about Israel. Everything is about Israel. Everything. Congress people resigning and being defamed by the president. Social media being destroyed. Legacy media being taken over. It's all about Israel. The mess in Lebanon that the US is now an integral part of because of Israel. The oppression of hundreds of millions of Arabs who hate what Israel is doing, but are being ruled over by Western friendly, let's call it that, regimes. It's because of Israel. The shady and quite repulsive relationship between the Trump administration and the US in general and the Gulf states, this renewed friendship and kinship almost, it's because of Israel. The subjugation of the American psyche, of American foreign policy, it's because of Israel. The fact that nothing gets done in the US and nothing gets done, it is unbelievable. It's a country with a huge political system, with centuries of tradition, and nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Nothing is being built. Nothing is being advanced. Nothing is being done for the people. Nothing. It is unbelievable. China now and China 10 years ago, it's not the same country. In a decade, China is going to be a century ahead of the rest of humanity because they are wasting no time. They are making progress every single day on a huge scale. They invest in their society, like they invest in stuff that really matters for people. But in the US, nothing is happening, and it's not just in the US. This is the feeling across the West. In the UK, it's the same. The NHS is drowning in the UK. Nurses are quitting, doctors are quitting. They don't have enough jobs, enough places for doctors. And the system is being destroyed and underfunded and undermanned, understaffed. And nothing gets done. And nothing gets done. Why is it? What is it about? Could it be linked to the fact that in the US, as we have seen just in the past couple of days, elected officials are not tested on the basis of their ability to perform for the public, for the people. They are being tested on the basis of the services they are able to provide Israel and Zionism. This is the test. If you are an American elected official, you have no incentive to try and do something for the people. There's no reason for you to try and do that. No one is going to reward you for this. Not to mention that no lobby group is going to throw millions your way for trying to make the lives of people better, to make the food less toxic, to make the roads better, to make public transportation simpler, easier, more affordable, more accessible, to get public education better funded, to get poor people out of poverty. We are seeing millions of Americans standing in lines to get food. This is images as I remember from the later years of the Soviet Union. This is what they would always show us on Western television and in Israel as well. The lines in Moscow, in other Russian or Soviet cities and towns for bread, for basic groceries. Well, now we're seeing in the US, when the stock market is breaking records, millions of people can hardly afford food if they don't get the SNAP, if they don't get some kind of help. They can't eat. They can't eat. People in a country with trillions and trillions of dollars to invest in all kinds of adventures, in AI and data centers, people can't eat. And the government is giving them surveillance and AI and all this nonsense and data centers. What are they going to do with data centers and AI when they can't eat, when they can't feed their families? The American job market is beginning to collapse. But the entire system, if you listen to what they're talking about, it is only about Israel. It is only about Israel. It's the only thing that matters to them. The only thing, this is unbelievable. And this is so extreme. This is so extreme. This is so extreme. If this was a story, it would be hard for us to believe it. What is the cause of this insanity, of this derangement? Why didn't the US tell Israel 2 years ago, you need to stop now? You need to let the Palestinians live. You need to allow a Palestinian state to be established. And that's it. You need to stop now. How come the US is creating these huge, gigantic mechanisms of censorship to censor American people, to censor the whole globe in the name of this regime that's committing such atrocities? This is so extreme. How is this that Western social media, that is like part of the everyday experience of billions of people, is being destroyed to protect this one small regime? How can it be? What can explain this? And by the way, this is not me cooking conspiracies for my overactive mind. They are telling this themselves. They are telling us we are censoring, we are monitoring, we are all of this stuff. And more APAC and more ADL and another initiative and another trip to Jerusalem and another trip to Israel. And what the hell is this? What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? Everything is about Israel. Everything is about Israel. The BBC in the UK, the US and the UK are two countries that I more or less follow regularly. But if you look, what about Germany? What about all the Arab countries that surround Israel? What about Jordan and Egypt? You cannot have a big protest for Palestine in Egypt or Jordan. You can't. Your Arab government is not allowing this. You may get arrested or killed. Same thing with Saudi Arabia. I'm not even mentioning the UAE. Everything is about Israel. Everything is about Israel. And the stuff that they do talk about and the stuff that they don't talk about. They never talk about Gaza. They talk about the supposed impact the discussion about Gaza has for Jewish people. What is this insanity? Can we talk about reality? Can we talk about what's actually going on? No. They are not having this conversation. The New York Times won't allow it. YouTube won't allow it. The BBC won't allow it. Sky News won't allow it. The American government won't allow it. The French government. In the past couple of days or a week or two, a new realization hit me. Because now, especially since it's not the Epstein and the Gaza Holocaust, everyone is asking the questions I'm saying out loud now, and I'm not supposed to ask. This is forbidden. We are grown-ups, but we are being told by our governments to stay inside this fence that they created for us to protect a certain regime that's committing all those atrocities. How is this even? It's not normal, that's for sure. But what I've come to realize is because so many people are now asking these questions, even if they don't say them aloud, and many do, and more do. If you are part of this axis, this Zionist axis, right? And you have this immense control, as we can see, over journalism, over policy, over almost anything, over international institutions, over the UN, over where is the International Court of Justice? Where has it gone? Where's the ICC? Everything has been cancelled. Everything has been cancelled, and it is all about Israel. It is all about Israel. Our whole lives in this moment in culture is politics is about Israel. All of it. But what I've come to realize is because they now understand that so many people are asking these questions, the next step, and it's very logical, is for them to create the impression that Israel doesn't have this power. Because people are asking, how come Israel has so much power in the US, in the UK, in Germany, in France, in Italy, everywhere, in Sweden, in Denmark, in Norway, in Australia, in Canada? So it's now become an action item for them to create a false reality where Israel doesn't have this power. And I think that this may at least partially explain what Mamdani was doing at the White House. And this may explain also what the meaning of this campaign against Venezuela. Because everyone now believes that Trump is in Israel's pocket, as he definitely is. They are trying to create the impression that this is not true. So this Mamdani is now at the White House to make him appear like a big, strong, and independent American phenomena that Trump cannot control or doesn't want to control or even like kind of accepts. Okay, but this is nonsense. This is theater. This is not reality. Same thing with Venezuela. Because so many people are asking, why are we going to another war and another war in the name of Israel and sending them so much money? so much weaponry. What's the deal with this? Now the US has to fake a foreign policy that is not based around Israel. Suddenly they have another agenda. I mean, when Trump ran for office this second time, he didn't even mention Venezuela. He never said, oh, Venezuela is this big international center for drug trafficking that's destroying America. We have to go to war against them. He never said that. So how come Venezuela is all of a sudden this huge imminent threat against the US that the US has to almost go to war and maybe actually go to war against? What is the actual political motivation for this? And for me, it makes a lot of sense that this move is meant to pretend that the US has an independent foreign policy that's not centered around Israel. And this is only half the explanation, because if the US and Israel go to war against Iran, and Israel and the US are one political unit, okay? If Israel goes to war against Iran and the US helps it, and they cause a major disruption in international oil supplies, it makes a lot of sense for them to try to find an alternative. And this alternative could be Venezuela, or should be Venezuela, because Venezuela is so rich in resources and oil. If they destroy the Persian Gulf and make it impossible to export oil out of the Persian Gulf, out of the Middle East, then they need an alternative. And Venezuela may be it. So there's a double benefit to going after Venezuela. One, it is faking an independent American foreign policy that's not centered around Israel. But second, it's preparing an alternative for Middle Eastern oil. But of course, none of this is going to actually work. Okay, this is my last point about this. The fact that there's so much activity around Israel, the fact that Israel has to work so hard in so many places, on so many fronts, they have to guide all of this. They have to monitor the BBC and Sky News and all, and universities everywhere. Okay, they have Zionists in every institution, in every university, in every classroom, in every TV station, in every newspaper. And they raise alarms when someone says something that's too critical of Israel. They need to tailor a response, a reaction against this person, against this dangerous trend. But this is so much work. They have to do it in 1,000 universities and 10,000 media outlets. This is so much work. They have to always be in touch with the million establishments and follow and feel for the pulse and the trend and where things are going, and make sure no one who is critical of Israel gets a platform in 100 countries. The fact that they need to work so hard, this is a good indication that they are losing. They are not winning. If they were winning, this would be easy and transparent. But this is not easy and transparent anymore. This is hard. and highly visible. This is highly visible. The legend where people are supportive of Israel in Europe and the US and in so many places, and Arabs just want to make peace with Israel, this legend is dead and gone. If this was true, they wouldn't need to censor social media so bad, right? If there was a great, big, engulfing sense of acceptance of Zionism in Israel, they wouldn't need to censor social media to this ridiculous degree that it's almost unusable. To defend what Israel is doing to Gaza and the West Bank, to defend an apartheid and genocide, which I call the Gaza Holocaust. So the oppression, the coercion is very visible. And it's a huge effort and it's taking a toll. American politicians are being asked harder and harder questions despite the huge efforts that they pour into stifling this discourse and making criticism of Israel illegal, basically. Illegal. Anti-Semitic. And they always need to do more and more and more of this and more and more. And we feel that reality feels crazier and crazier because the disconnect is getting wider and wider and more total and more total. It is like this the story that they tell us and what we see and know and feel and hear it, they don't even meet. They don't exist in the same universe. And as I said in my last video, and this is related to Israel escalating now against Lebanon and Gaza and potentially Iran. Israel is not making it easier for all its collaborators and servants and whores in the Western countries and the Arab world. And it has so many of them, so many of them. You know, this is one of the biggest lessons for me in this genocide. This is something I honestly didn't know 2 years ago. I didn't know it. I didn't know that there were so many people in power, not ordinary people, in power, whose entire existence, whose entire function and ability to be in power is so deeply connected to what we're seeing in Gaza over the past couple of years. I didn't know that there were so many politicians, and not only politicians, people in all kinds of prestigious positions, in culture, in media, in academia, who were such cowards, who were such despicable human beings. This is despicable. This is not insufficient, not brave enough, not clear enough. This is disgusting, despicable. Keeping your mouth shut for 2 years when children are being murdered in broad daylight, day in, day out, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of kids, and they wouldn't speak even if Israel exterminates all of Gaza, they would still keep their mouths shut. I didn't know this was our reality. This was my world. I didn't know it. I didn't know it. This is new to me. And it is kind of shocking. I didn't think something like this could be possible. I didn't think that a million academics who have tenure and was a senior and write research papers and have labs and institutions would not say a word in 2 years of open Holocaust. And athletes and singers and celebrities and actors and politicians and journalists. This is new to me. I didn't think this was possible. I didn't think this was possible. I didn't. And I don't believe they would act this way if any other country would be doing what Israel was doing, is doing, has been doing. This too is about Israel. It is about the unbelievable cowardice and conformity that we have in our societies, which is so terrible because this is how children get slaughtered, because no one speaks up. No one speaks up. No one. No one. You have hundreds of prestigious universities in the West, and no one said the word. No head of any university resigned in protest. Not one. Not one senior journalist resigned in protest. Not one military professional, senior, resigned in protest. This is a sickness of conformity that I've been talking about conformity and its dangers for 15 or 20 years maybe. But such a display of it was beyond even my imagination. I thought that when it came to children, this would be a red light for almost everyone, for almost anyone. In my naivete, this is what I believed. And now I've become disillusioned. I know that when they are threatened, and this is not their life, no one would execute an academic who resigned over the Gaza Holocaust. No one, there was no shooting squad waiting for these people. The worst that could happen to them is they would lose a year or 2 or 3 of academic progress, of career, for standing up for the life of children. Same thing with singers and athletes, NBA stars, and all this. It makes me feel like I'm going to throw up. Did you know that people are this spineless and honorless? I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know. I didn't know it was this acute. And despite all of this immense power and ability to manipulate and maneuver and determine and create a false reality, it's not helping. And Israel is not helping this because Israel always acts crazier and crazier. And I've been saying this endlessly. Anyone, and this is the stupidity on top of the cowardice and conformity, because anyone who bet their own future on Israel acting normal any day in the future, they are going to be so bitterly disappointed, and not only disappointed but ruined, because eventually, in a week or a month or a year, what they have done, what they kept silent in the face of, what they defended, is going to be inevitably exposed in a big major way, because Israel is going to make sure of that. Israel is going to attack another country and another country and another country until it is defeated, until it is broken. And remember this. This is not my prediction, this is my prophecy. There's no peace for Israel. There's no normalcy. There's no future. There's only more and more derangement. And so many people could have prevented this by speaking up, and in the first week, the first month, the first year, but they didn't. Because we have a culture of cowardice and conformity. We don't know what it means to be a human being. We don't know. We don't teach our kids to be human beings. We teach them all kinds of nonsense, to sit straight, to eat politely, to respect authority. What about caring for other people? What about disobeying authority when it is immoral? This is what it means to be human. You break with society to defend someone who's being attacked. When you're in a class and they attack the weak child, no matter who this child is, if they're black or transgender or ginger or just skinny or fat, it doesn't matter. You break with the majority and you defend them. This is what a human being does, but we have forgotten this. We don't teach this our kids. We don't teach it ourselves. This is not part of our culture. We only teach our kids and teach ourselves to stay in our lane and not look left and right and remain committed to some stupid ideology we had no part in creating. This is Christian, this is Muslim, this is American, this is European, this is who gives a damn? When someone is being destroyed, when such a huge injustice is being committed, who cares about all those ideologies and definitions and doctrines and theories? Who cares about authority? There are big lessons to be learned from this Holocaust and the amazing silence in the West and its puppet regimes, especially in the Arab world. There's a great big lesson and there's a great big reckoning coming, I'm sure of that. Because this system that they have created, which is based on their ability to fight a million small fires at a time, this can't hold on forever. This structure cannot hold. It's collapsing. It's collapsing in front of our eyes. This fake reality that they push upon us is not real. They are losing. And they are going to start another war and another war and another war until they are defeated and broken. There's no other future for this country. And those who have kept silent, and said nothing when the worst thing humanity can do was happening day in and day out in front of everyone's eyes. They will have to live with this. And those who are Zionists, it's not going to be nice for them. It's not going to be nice for them. This madhouse that they have created is coming to an end. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. I'm inviting everyone to my Substack. And if you want to support my channel, you have links on my YouTube description. And let's stay strong and keep fighting. Okay? I see you in the next video.